Hey guys, it's Pastor Rod. I've really come to enjoy these Tuesday morning short little messages. I hope you're finding them encouraging. That's certainly the intention of them. I spent this last week with the Lord in prayer, just asking Him, where are we at? What's going on? What's the next steps? What are the next phases for us as a church? Where are we at? I think this is what people want to know. Where are we at right now? And I felt like the Lord said we're in the season of kingdoms. And, when God speaks to you, obviously there is a reference that you have that others may not. So let me take just a second and explain that. The reference is in line with King David's life. King David's life was broken up into seasons. The first season of his life was a season as a shepherd. That was later followed by a season as a servant to King Saul. And that was later followed by a season in caves, which was later followed by a season of kingdoms. David had, if you recall, been anointed king 3 separate times. It was on the 3rd time the Bible says that he perceived he was king. It was time for him to step into the role that the people needed him to step into. He was the king and he needed to walk in that role. I believe we are in that same season right now. See, the world around us needs the church to be the church. And it's time for us to step into that role. We have been in many other roles. We've had our times of preparation. We've had our times of being separated. And now it's time for us to rise up and be the church. As I was pondering on all this, I remembered Jesus' words in Matthew 11. He said, from the time of John the Baptist, the kingdom of heaven has suffered violence, and violent men lay hold of it by force. These are really some pretty strong words, and I think on the surface you can look at that and, visions of riots tend to come to mind. But understand that what Jesus is talking about is siege. See, if you think about how siege happened in those days, a city would be walled all around, and the outer army would come in and it would lay siege to those walls, and it would begin to tear holes through the walls. It would begin to climb over the walls. It wanted what was inside the city, and this is the point that Jesus is making. He's saying, from the time John the Baptist began his ministry, the people have laid siege to the kingdom. They want into the kingdom. They're on the outside and they want in. And then he said, the violent lay hold of it by force. In other words, the casual person isn't the one who's going to cut through the wall or climb over the wall. It's that person who really desires it. There was a time, you'll find the account in Matthew chapter 2. There's a paralytic. Jesus is, of course, holding a meeting, and as this analogy holds, right, the meeting that night was under siege. You couldn't get into the room. The room was packed. In fact, outside the building even, there were people out there. And these 4 friends brought their paralytic friend to Jesus so he could heal them. They wanted the kingdom, but when they got there, the kingdom was already under siege. The room that Jesus was in was already under siege, and there was no way for them to get their friend to him. And so what they did, made a hole in the roof, and they dropped their friend down through the roof right in front of Jesus. See, friends, that's what it means to lay hold of the kingdom by force. What it means is I will not be denied. I will take hold of it in whatever way I need to take hold of it, because it's that important to me to have it. This week, I hope as you move forward in your day-to-day life, you will see the hour of the kingdom. And I hope that you will lay hold of it by whatever means is necessary. You may have to set aside some of the other things you want to do and spend more time in the Bible. You may need to set aside some of the things that you want to do and spend some more time in prayer. God is speaking to His people today, and He is ready to lead us into the next place. This is the hour of kingdoms, and it's the hour for us to lay hold of that for which Christ has laid hold of us. Have an awesome week.